beavers the size of bears, sloths weighing more than 3,000 pounds, 7-foot camels roaming the shores of marshy seas. This was the Ice Age world that humans encountered when they first crossed from Asia into North America roughly 14,000 years ago. During the late Pleistocene, or Ice Age, as the glaciers retreated, North America supported several flourishing species of big animals known as megafauna. But almost all of those enormous animals vanished off the face of the Earth around 10,000 years ago. Here is a list of 8 massive Ice Age animals that roamed North America. Number 1. Giant short-faced bear. Giant indeed. The biggest known carnivorous animal to wander North America was the enormous short-faced bear. An adult huge short-faced bear could reach almost 14 feet vertically while standing on its hind legs. The huge short-faced bear's long, slim and powerful legs were the most noticeable feature that set it apart from current North American bears. Because of its enormous size and far longer legs than contemporary bears in relation to their bodies, the short-faced bear is thought to have been a cursorial predator, meaning that it ran after prey. Paleontologists estimate that the short-faced bear was the fastest bear in history, with speeds exceeding 40 miles per hour based on the analysis of skeletal remains. The short-faced bear probably utilized its keen sense of smell to identify nearby corpses and its bulk and speed to fend off rivals thanks to its enormous nasal cavities. Giant short-faced bears are not related to any living species of bear in North America. Its closest living relative, although distant, is the diminutive spectacled bear, or Andean bear, the only bear species native to South America. Number 2. Saber-toothed tiger and scimitar cat. One of the most recognizable creatures of Ice Age North America is the saber-toothed tiger. Upper canines measuring an average of 7 inches in length and a jaw that could open to an astounding 130 degrees were features found on saber-toothed skeletons excavated from locations such as the La Brea tar pits near Los Angeles. The bodies of saber-toothed cats differ greatly from those of modern tigers or lions, and they have no relation with any of the other living cats. Compared to an adult lion, they were a foot shorter but nearly twice as heavy, more than 600 pounds in certain cases. With their bobbing tails and comparatively small legs, saber-toothed cats were not designed for long sprints, but rather for ambush strikes. However, there were other large-boned feline hunters in the late Pleistocene era than saber-toothed tigers. With its 4-inch canines, the scimitar cat was a widespread species across North America. Its build resembled that of a contemporary African lion, with extended front legs for hauling down large prey. A juvenile mammoth may be readily taken down and dragged back to its cave by an adult scimitar cat. Number 3. Mammoth and Mastodon. The most well-known extinct Ice Age megafauna is the woolly mammoth. The woolly mammoth, which grazed the northern steppes of Ice Age North America, stood 12 feet tall at the shoulders and weighed 6 to 8 tons. It used its enormous 15-foot curving tusks to dig for food beneath the snow and protect itself from predators. However, fossil evidence indicates that in the late Pleistocene, at least 4 different species of huge elephant-like mammals lived in North America. The oldest elephant in North America is the American Mastodon. Its progenitors migrated from Asia across the Bering Strait approximately 15 million years ago, and 3.5 million years ago, they gave rise to the American Mastodon. The teeth of the Mastodon, which was shorter and stockier than the later mammoths, suggest that it did not graze on grass like mammoths did, but instead tore off entire tree branches and leaves in search of food. Mammoths arrived in North America in 2 waves much later. Mammuthus meridionalis, a mammoth, split into 2 different species approximately 1.5 million years ago when it crossed the Bering Land Bridge. the comparatively hairless Columbian mammoth and the Jeffersonian mammoth. And then along came the woolly mammoth, perhaps as recently as 500,000 years ago. Throughout Ice Age North America, mammoths were found from Canada to Honduras. Archaeologists have discovered fossils that indicate lone bands of mammoths were still roaming Arctic islands as late as 4,500 years ago, despite the fact that nearly all mammoths and mastodons were wiped off in the Great Megafauna extinction 10,000 years ago. That means there were mammoths living down to the time when the Egyptians were building the pyramids. Number 4. Giant beaver. The largest rodent in history was the colossal beaver of the Ice Age in North America. Its 2 front teeth, incisors, were as long as bananas, and it could grow up to 7 feet long and weigh more than 250 pounds. The gigantic beaver is more closely related to the South American capybara than it is to contemporary beavers, despite having flat tails and large front teeth in common. The enormous beaver lacked the strength and dexterity to precisely chop down massive trees because its incisors and molars were blunt and rounded. Additionally, the smoothness of their brains indicated that they lacked the intelligence to build dams. Number 5. Giant ground sloths. Nowadays, sloths are about the size of dogs and they live in trees moving slowly. But sloths were a quite different animal in Ice Age North America. Standing 12 feet tall on their hind legs and weighing up to 3,000 pounds, the enormous ground sloths of the late Pleistocene were herbivorous animals identical to bears. One giant sloth species, the Jefferson ground sloth, was named for Thomas Jefferson, who initially believed that sloth fossils were a type of colossal cat that he dubbed the Megalonyx, meaning giant claw. Similar to contemporary sloths, these enormous ground sloths most likely walked slowly and awkwardly, with some species walking on their hind legs curled in ankles. Like modern sloths, ground sloths possessed lengthy claws that they would have used to dig for roots and remove leaves. According to DNA studies, the giant Harlan's ground sloth and all other extinct North American ground sloths originated in South America and moved north with ancient opossums and armadillos. North and South America were separated until around 2 million years ago when the Isthmus of Panama emerged. Most mammals migrated north to south, but sloths came the other way. In some periods, there were giant ground sloths as far north as Alaska,